Good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing?
Okay, sir. And how are you?
I'm good.
Max class.
Yeah, we are about to start right about now. All right, so I will start in a minute or less. All right. All right. All right, let's go. All right, so we have 60 questions that we want to complete as best as possible. Remember that we're not using any calculator. I'm actually looking at a 2016 June paper one. All right, let's go. All right, so number one, it says in standard form, a 0 point, there's a point here, 0.0325 is written as what? So we want standard form. So if we have 0.0325, remember in standard form, the decimal point must come after the first non-zero digit. So you're going to have to move the decimal point two places until it reaches between the 2 and the 3 times 10 to the 2. And then the 2 could be positive, it could be negative. But this is what I normally tell people. If the original number is less than 1, like it is a 0 point, the moment it's that sort of number, it's a negative power every time. So the answer is actually B. So you could always look out for that, right? As long as the original number is a 0 point something, then your power of 10 is negative. So you could use that to go through as you go. All right, let us go to the next question. So the second question is a well-repeated question. It says, what percentage of 40 is 8? All right, what percentage of 40 is 8? So the is go on top, 40 at the bottom, and then you could turn this into percentage. Okay, so 8 into itself, 1, 8 into 40, 5, 5 into itself, 1, and 5 into 100 is 20. So your answer is 20%. All right, quite easily done, as you could see. All right. I do realize that people are making a lot of errors, right, while we're looking at various tests. When I go through and I look, I realize you're making errors. So you got to pay attention, ask the questions if you're not certain. Number three, it says 540 beads are shaded in the ratio 4 to 9. Okay. The larger share of beads would be what? There are multiple ways to get it. Bottom line is you need to know the total number of parts, and it is 9. So 4 to 5, I'm thinking I said 5 to 9. I don't know. So this is 4 to 5. The total parts is 9. Okay. So what you're going to do is you want to divide this by 9. So you could divide this by 9. So basically the fraction you could use is you're going to divide by 9, and then at the same time, you're going to multiply by 5. So you could put 5 over 9, okay? Because you're interested in this 5, the larger part. So you divide it by 9. So by now you should know your timetable well enough. 54, right? So you're dividing the 540 by 9. So knowing your timetable, 9 into itself 1, 9 into 54 is 6, 9 into 0, 0. And then we're looking at 60 times 5. And that's 300. And so it's right here. Again, remember the total number of parts is 9, right? So we're actually finding 5 out of the 9, basically. So that's one way to look at it. I'm not going to do multiple ways. I'm moving. Question 4. It says here, question 4 says, it says 18.96 times 2.03 correct to two significant figures would be what? And as you could see here, they don't want you to work this out because you're seeing that the response is a 3, a 8, a 3, a 8, a 3, a 8. So you could say that it is some 3, 8 that you're going to get. So you really don't need to do it. What you're focusing on is two significant figures. So you want to make sure that you're looking at two significant figures and at the same time you're giving back value to the figure, right? So if I'm multiplying 18 point something times 2, it cannot be 0 point. I'm positive 18 point something times 2 cannot be 380. I know that already. So those are some stuff that you can easily cancel off. Stuff that you know it cannot be. Please do it. So now you're looking at B and C. But for two significant figures, it has to be this because this is not 2. That's not two significant figures. That's 4 significant figures at C. So we're saying that a lot of times you don't even have to work it out. The moment you're putting your thing together, you could eliminate 2, and then you could zoom in and then pick the right answer. So the answer is B, 38. All right, let's take a look at 0.45 as a common fraction in its simplest form. Now, if you're looking at 0.45, you can represent this as a decimal fraction, meaning you're going to have a denominator with ones and zeros. The number of decimal places would tell how many zeros. So it's 2 decimal places, so it's 100. That is going to be there. So basically, we're talking about it's 45 over 100. So this is the same thing as 45 over 100. And from here, you want to break it down. You want to use numbers that you're comfortable with. For example, like 5. 5 into 45, 9. 5 into 100, 20. So we're looking for 9 over 20. Is that there? Yes. So the answer is A. So here it is again, not a big deal, but you have to take your time and make sure that you're going through correctly. All right, let's go. Remember to like the video when you come on, drop a comment as you go, subscribe to the channel as well. All right, let's go. We say, so look at this one now. It says the exact value of. Now, as you could see, it wants the exact value of. Let me rewrite this just in case you're not seeing it well. It's 37.26. And this is divided by 1.8. And it is all over 1,000. With this question as well, you don't necessarily need to work this out because there's no time to work with these little numbers at the top and so on. But you could see that this is basically, when you look at your responses, all of them has a 207. That means I'm in the 207 idea right now, so I don't have to work it out. What I'm going to pay attention to is the fact that this is almost 40. This is almost 2. Almost, I'm just saying. So that means at the top, it had to be 20.7. Divide by 1,000 because all the answers are showing me that. So I'm thinking 37 is almost 40 and 1.8 is almost 2. So I'm just saying, without doing anything, at the top is 20.7 based on the answers that I'm having here. And then basically that's going to be divided by 1,000. So I'm going to just move my decimal point 3 places to the left. Okay? 1, 2, 3, add a 0. Boom. So I'm looking for 0.0207. Here it is. So again, I really don't need to work these out because of how the numbers are set up on the responses. So as we go through, I want us to look at the answers. If all my answers are the same, then I'll do less work because there is something there that they want me to grab. Okay. All right. Let us take a look at number 7. With number 7, I'm going to approach it this way. You might see this and you're like, okay, we have 3.3 times 2.5 plus 5.7 times 2.5. CXE knows that you're not working with a calculator. They're not giving you stuff that you need to put in. You could take a look that there's a common factor here. You see a big plus right here, and the other things are multiplying. I'm going to factor out 2.5. I'm just opening up your minds to ideas, okay? I'm going to factor out my 2.5. So,
what past paper is this?
huh?
What year
You're talking
past paper is this?
2016, 2016, 2016, 2016. It's the paper that you did the other day for tests. I'm actually just going through so that you could see whatever you did wrong, you will feel a little better. All right. Now, if I factor out this 2.5, I'm going to have 3.3 plus 5.7. This is regular factor. This is the common factor. If I plot this out, you could see the 3.3 plus the 5.7. So basically then, this is, isn't this 9? Take a look, isn't that 9? So now everything just come down like very simple. They are going to set it up that you could play around with this stuff. So that becomes 9. So 2.5, 2.5 times 9. Well, this is the answer, right? Because 2 times 9 is 18. Half of 9 is 4.5. And I'm seeing 22.5. I'm just saying to you that, you know, a lot of times you're able to get through quite easily. All right. So let's go for the next question. Number 8, it says, what is the value of the digit 2 in the number 48.621? You know that people got this wrong. And I'm making sure that we don't get these wrong because they're always going to put it on their paper. I saw it last year, I saw it the year before, this sort of stuff. Okay. Pay attention to details. Now, when you're in the decimal, right? When you start going in the decimal, like the 6 and the 2 and the 1, it starts with a tenth, with a th. That means you're dividing by 10. So this 6 is actually 6 divided by 10. This 2 is actually 2 divided by 100 because it's 2 places. The 1 is 1 divided by 1,000, as you could see. So what we're looking at, they're asking you about 2. It's 2 over 100. The answer is at A. You have to pay attention to the details of what's going on right here. Are we good with that? Are we good? Come on.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any question? Come on. Any question? Any question? Come on. Any question? Anybody? Any question? All right. Let's go. All right. This one says the largest prime number that is less than 100. So the largest prime number less than 100. If I were you, what I'll do with these, I'm going to just see what numbers are not prime numbers. Now, they want the largest one, but I'm just going to say, hey, what numbers are not prime numbers? I'm going to run through these quickly, right? So I could see that 3 could go into this, so it's not a prime. 3 could go into this, it's not a prime. 91, if you divide this by 3, think about this, right? Like, what works for this? All right, you said 3 can't work. What about 7? 91, if you divide this by 7, 72 is this 1, 2, boom. You're like, 7 works, right? So that means this is not a prime. Like, you try these with small numbers, right? You try them with small numbers, 3, 5, 7. Try with those and see if it works. That means this is the prime, okay? Because some of them are quite obvious. Like, there are going to be 2 obvious answers. Then you're zooming in on, is it 91? Is it 97? But 91, you could see 7 could work. And I'm saying you could try these all the time. You could try number 3, you could try 5, you could try 7. You could try these to break them down quickly, right? Because most times, you know, if it is an even number and it's not number 2, it's not prime, okay? So for the odd numbers, you could try these quickly. and you could see what goes on. Just giving you clues to go on. So the answer there is a C. Number 10, it says if 3n is an odd number, right? Which of the following is even? What's the context here? For every odd number, the next number that is consecutive is going to be an even, then odd, then even, then odd. And this pattern goes on forever. Why am I suggesting that? Because if 3n is odd, there are only two responses possible. It's either you're going to add 1 or you could take 1. These are the only answers that you could get right now based on the context. So as you could see, this is the one that they have. So that means that's going to be the even number, right? Also, it could have been this, okay? This, right? So it could have been adding or subtracting because for every odd number to the left and to the right, there's going to be an even number. So we're talking about understanding, all right? All right.
Sir, one question. So you're saying it
Go
could
ahead.
be 3n plus 1, even though it 4, which
Yeah.
would be even.
Think
So
about
if
it.
you put the 3n plus 1, you still get it correct?
Remember, this is a multiple choice.
Oh,
And
yeah, because my nose said
you're not putting, you're picking. Make
yeah.
sense? Yeah. I'm just saying to you, logically speaking, expressing myself, I'm saying you could add or you could subtract 1. So you look to see which one is available to be picked. They're only going to put 1 there. Make sense? Right?
Yes, sir.
All right. One of the reasons why I'm taking my time to express to everybody, I'm just saying it to you. I have noticed CXC keeps sending back a lot of questions and they're going to tweak it. A lot of people getting catch. A lot. Even in the last test that I gave you, a lot of you picking stuff based on stuff that you saw before. You didn't pick the wrong answer. So I'm just saying what I want everybody to do, just as though I'm going through this, it's not a rush. You have enough time. Read every single question. Please do not think that you saw the question before. Even if it really looks like it, make sure you read it and see what they're asking because they like to just twist it at the end. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right, give me 1 second. In the meantime, you could look at number 11, everybody. In the meantime, look at number 11, please. Look at number 11. Look at number 11. Ready? All right, let's go through. So it says here that item 11 refers to the following information. So we have prime numbers, we have odd numbers, we have even numbers. That's what we're dealing with, PQR. Now it says which of the following set is empty? Which of the following set is empty? In other words, if I have a set of prime numbers, I'm just going to list a few. For example, 2, 3, 5, 7, blah, 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 right? And I have a set of odd numbers, which would have been 1, 3, 5, 7, and it goes on. Even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, and it goes on. They're saying which one of these, when you check, right, is going to be empty. If you intersect P and R, what is P? P, R. If you intersect this, number 2 is there. Can you see that? For P and R, number 2 is there, so it's not empty. So number 2 is prime, number 2 is even. So this is not the answer. If you put together P and Q, you're not going to get empty. The union is when you combine things. You're going to get a lot of things for that union. But what about P and Q? Right? What about P and Q? So P, prime and even, we're still going to get something. Prime and even, right? We will get something because we have prime number. Where is it? Where we at? P and Q? Oh, odd, my bad. Odd and prime should say. There are a lot of odd numbers that are prime right here. Look at them. There are a lot. So there is something in there. But when you think of your Q, which is odd numbers and even numbers, they don't cross. So that is an empty set. This is empty set. There is nothing in that set, okay? When we're looking at even numbers and odd numbers. If you overlap them, nothing is sharing. Now let's take a look at number 12. So number 12 says here that we have x. So we have a set of values of x such that x is greater than or equal to 6, but less than 10. See that? Less than 10. That means 10 is not a part of it. It's less than 10, but it's greater than or equal to 6, which means 6 is in it, right? So what are we saying here? We're looking at 6, 7, 8, 9. And remember, it says integers. There's no decimal and so on. So it's from 6 to 9. There's no 10. Look at the symbols right here. See that? Less than. So A is going to be that answer there. 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So you have to look out and just put everything into perspective. You will be okay. All right. Very good. Let's jump at number 13. So number 13 says, if Q is equal to ABC, how many subsets can be obtained from the set Q, right? All right. Remember, we spoke about that. Whenever you find in subset, it's always 2 to the number of elements, 1, 2, 3 of them, 2 to the third power. So that, in this case, is D, as you could see right there. Not a biggie as you go through, right? All right.
Sir, are you combine the two?
It's a formula. You got to remember it. So subsets, remember, subsets is how many sets can you get out of something else. We are saying this is the formula that tells you the number of sets you could get out of a set. So if I have a set of 3 things, it's 2 raised to the third power. I could get 8 sets from this. That's what it is saying. If I have a set with 4 elements in it, 2 raised to the 4. If I have a set with 5 elements in it, 2 raised to the 5th. It's telling you how many little other subsets can you create out of that monster. All right. So this is something that you want to memorize. Right. Thank you. Item 14 says, it refers to the following. So P, last year this came, but they switched it. So like this came, but they never asked the same question. So, and a lot of people got it so wrong. This one. So you got to look out for what they're asking. So take a look. Set M is PQR. Set N is P and Q. Now you're seeing that N is a part of M. So this one is totally in this one. You could see that, right? Now, watch this. It says, which of the following statement is true? They asked the same question, but they switched up their responses, right? So don't swat your questions. Read it through. That's what I'm going to do now, right? So it says M is a subset. This means subset. And you read from left to right. M is a subset of N. No, M is not a subset. It's the other way around. This is actually N is the subset of M because N is inside of M. So this is incorrect, right? Now let's go further. It says here, if you create a union between M and N, you'll get back N. No, because if I unite these two, I'm getting back M. I'm not getting back N. Because when you unite, I'm going to have P in it. There's going to be Q, there's going to be R, and that is M. So it's not this, okay? Now, when you intersect, they said it's empty. They're saying when you intersect them, nothing is in it. This is wrong because 2 things will be in it. They are there. This is wrong. That's not true. That means I'm not even going to figure this out. The answer is D by default. So as you could see, questions like these, we eliminate and we cancel. When you realize that 3 of your answers are not good, please take the next one. But I will explain it, but you don't need to explain in an exam. If you find the intersection of M and N, you're going to get P and Q. And definitely, you're noticing that that is set N. You see, it's really true. But we don't need to prove it. The moment the first 3 is wrong, we automatically pick that last one and we're gone with it. All right? We're gone with the win. All right, let's take a look at number 15. Now, 15 is consumer maths. Everybody could see the pattern yet. We start off with numbers, decimal, this, that, and then you go into sets. And then after sets, you go into consumer math. I hope you see that. The same number of questions most times. Just check it out. All of those questions that I sent to you, just go through, look at the format. You'll see it, right? So now we're in consumer math. Percentage and so on will be a lot. All right, it says here that if Trinidad and Tobago, $6 is equivalent to US1, then 15 Trinidad dollars is how many US dollars? You can divide here because for every six Trinidad money, it's one US. So that means I'm going to take this 15 and I'm going to divide it by 6. So by the time I say 6 into 15, it's 2. Normally, I look to see, and the moment I see this 2 here, this is my answer. It means this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. I don't even have to prove the other part because they didn't set it up for me to struggle. The moment I said 15 divided by 6, there's only one thing with a 2 here. So I'm gone. But you all see that there'll be a remainder of 3. 3 over 6 is 0.5. But I don't even need to go there because the question never set up to struggle me. All right? So we grab that and we're gone. So that is C right there. Let's take a look at this one. Number 16 says the cost price of a refrigerator is $1,850. A buyer who is giving a discount of 5% for cash price will pay what? As you could see, this percentage thing, they're using nice percentage. Remember, we said it 5%, blah, 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 10, 15. They're giving you some nice numbers. There are many ways you could work this out. You could just take your time. The standard way is that people find 5%. They find their 5% and then they subtract it. You could do that if you want. So you could cancel this and that. And then you're like 5 into itself is 1. 5 into 10 is 2. And then 2 into itself is 1. And then you keep going. 2 into the 18 is 9. And then 2.5, right? And then now what you're going to do here, is, what do I have here? Okay. Yes, 92.5. Very good. So what you're going to do now is that you're going to just take it from it. You have your 1. Look at the answers though. If you take a look at the answers, this is less than $100. So my answer will be a little bit more than 1750. I'm going to pick this because it has to be more than 1750. But it can't be this. It can't be this either. And it definitely can't be this. So I don't need to break it down because the answers that they have will be off. I'm taking less than $100 from 1850. I'm definitely sure it must be more than 1750, but it can't be certain numbers. Everybody see the point I'm making yet? Without even doing this, you just sat, you pick your thing, and then you understand that this is the answer, just like that. And this is how you save time, okay? But you could take the long route if you want, take your time, break it down. You're going to see 175, 750 show up. But I'm just kind of guiding your thinking right now. Let's go for number 17. For number 17, it says, Tom bought a pen for $30 and sold it to gain. Got to pay attention to that. 20% on his cost. Everybody work out that for me. How much money did he gain? Can you give me some answers quickly? Let's go. How much money did he gain? Let me see what you're picking. Number 17. Let me see what they're saying here. All right. All righty. All righty. So let us get into it. All right. So for this one, all right. So what you're doing what? 20%. So you could do it the long way, you could do it the easy way. I'm going to do it both ways. 20%, which is the long way, is just to do this, which is very short. You could divide these by 10, so you're left with that. You could divide 10 into 30, that's 3. 2 threes is 6. Question didn't ask for anything but what is gain, right? How much is gain? $6, all right? A lot of people might pick 36, but oh, what is gain is just the percentage. Remember, we're saying that you could go quicker because 10% is to drop off a 0. So 10% is 3. 20% is to double 3, which is 6. So as you could see, you're on your own with what you do. I'm just exposing you to ideas. All right. All right. Let us go to number 18. Number 18 says a dinner at a restaurant was advertised at $60 plus $18 tax. The total bill for this dinner was what? All right. Let's go. Let's see what you pick, everybody. Come on, let's see what you pick. See what you pick. Work it out. See what you pick. All right, guys. Guys, take a moment to share the live. Please share it to your status so people can jump on. All right, send it out. All right. Let's see what you pick, and then I'm gonna jump on this right about now. Let's get into it. All right, so let's take a look at this question. It says here, a dinner at a restaurant was advertised at $60. Tax is 18. There are two ways you could do this. You could say, all right, you could use your approximation without working this down to the T, because I'm going to use my 20% as a marker. If I take 20% of this, right? 20% of my 60 is $12. Remember, 10% is $6, 20% is $12. In other words, if 20% was added, I would have paid $72, right? $72 I would have paid if it was 20. That means my answer must be a little bit less than 72 because it's 18, 20. It can't be 60. It can't be more. It can't be more than 72. Without working, my answer is B. That's how we're setting up because we understand what's going on. 20% is 72, but I'm not going 72, but I know it's more than 60. It's 70.8. All right. So you're not even going to work this down to the T. The answer is B. All right, let's keep going. It says a television set costs $350. That's for cash. When bought an hire purchase, there is a deposit of. So when you're doing hire purchase, you normally drop yourself a deposit, and then you go back and pay a certain number of months, certain amount of money. So we're going to be paying 12 months. We're going to pay 30. So 35 plus, this is about 360. This is like 395. Now, the question is, how much is saved paying cash? This is your cash. Take it out, take it from it. Because if I'm going to go cash, I'm going to save $45. So I'll be paying $45 less if I'm going cash with that. So basically that's that. That's right there. That's that right there. So our answer is D for 19. All right, let's keep it going. Let's see what number 20 has. Number 20, anybody? Let's work this out quickly. Come on, work this out. Number 20, we're there. See what you could get for number 20. All right. All right, so number 20 says the simple interest on a sum of money invested, all right, at 5% per annum for 3 years was. So this is the interest. The interest was, right? So you have your interest, which is 90. You actually, so the question is, you want P, the money that was invested. You have the time, it's 3 years, you have the rate, It's 5. Remember, though, that P can be found by taking 100 and multiply by your interest, divided by your rate times your time. All right. So it's 100 times 90 all over, right? Your rate, which is 5, times the time, which is 3. You could break this down and you're good. So whichever way you want to break it down. For example, you could say 3 into itself is 1. 3 into 90 is 30. You could say 5 into itself is 1. 5 into 30 is 6. And then you say 6 times 100 is 600. Just like that. And then you look, you see it. And then you know that you're good. And you take your time and you work them through. You don't get this formula from them. You got to remember your simple interest formula, and then you could just transpose and so on. All right. It says a woman buys a pair of shoes at sale. At a sale. She pays $45. Right? Watch this. She pays $45, saving 15 on the normal price. That means it's $60 for it. Right? So she paid 45, she saved 15. The percentage discount, right? The percentage discount on the pair of shoes is what? So what is the discount that she would have gotten? Right? So you could see that she saved 15. So it is 15 out of the 60 because the real price was 60. They told us that she saved 15. So if you add this, it's going to tell you what the real price was. So the percentage discount, in other words, 15 over 60, right? So you work this out, times it by 100. You could see this into this 1, 15 into the 60 is 4, 4 into 100 is 25. So 21 is 25. 21 is 25%, as you could see. So you got to think, relax, right? Read what they say, start understanding what they're about, and you keep it going. The reason why they have C there is a lot of people put it over 45. You're going to be messed up. And they have that there. Because remember, the discount has to be linked back to the original, not what you paid for it, what it was, the original thing. All right, number 22. If a simple interest on 900, see, a simple interest on 900, that's principal. For 3 years, that's time. Was English language, this is interest. That means what it is they want. They want the rate, right? So your rate is calculated by 100 times your interest divided by P times T. You can see the formulas look a certain way every time. 100 times your interest over P, 900 times 3. I would just take this 100 divided into the 900 9 times, and then you could see what else. You look at this. 9 into itself is 1. 9 into this is 1. Remainder 1. That's 12. 3 into itself is 1. 3 into 12 is 4. So I'm looking for 4%. And the answer is right here. There's a 4% there. So you just take your time and you break this down. As I said to you, to my knowledge, they're going to make sure that they give you some nice and easy things to break down as you go. Remember to like the video, everybody, subscribe to the channel and share the video to your status right about now. Let's go for 23. I've seen where a few people got this wrong as well. Now, for this, we're looking at 3x to the second times 2x to the third. We're multiplying regularly, so 3 2s is 6. But when you multiply same letters, you add their powers. People multiply this and got it wrong. Be careful. So this is 6, but x raised to the 5th. Okay, you multiply numbers ordinarily, but when you multiply the same letters, add their powers. All right. So the answer is actually A. A lot of people put C for this one. So I'm just calling it out. You know yourself, you remember what you got recently. So the answer there is a 6x raised to the 5th power. Let's go for number 24. Number 24. All right. Number 24. 24 is a algebra fraction. So obviously we're done with consumer math and we are now dealing with algebra. Everybody watch the pattern of the paper, you will see. So you could basically see that you want something that 5x and the 3x could go into without a remainder. We're going to be utilizing 15 with an x, okay? And then we're going to see what happened. When 5s goes into 15, it goes 3 times. So 3 ones 3. And then again, when 3x goes into 15, it's 5 times. So 5 twos is 10. What are we looking at? We're looking at 13 over 15x. You look, if you see that first, it is there. That means you're good. All right. A lot of people might have gotten it wrong because they think it is 15x squared and stuff like that. Just look out. Please be simple with these. It's not a big deal. Any question regarding this class? Are we good? Let me know if we're good. Are we there? Are we okay?
Sir, so what you said, we're not supposed to multiply the x?
Where?
Right there, sir, because me get it wrong too, because me put 15x squared.
You're doing, yeah, you, all right. All right. I'm going to do it your way, and I'm going to show you that you would have gotten the same answer still. So I want you to navigate. So you're suggesting that you still can get the answer. You're suggesting that you use 15x squared as your denominator. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
All right, no problem. So you still can get the answer. So watch this now. Let us say you use this. Let us see what you did. So when you put your 15x squared, this is not the LCM, but it is a multiple. It can work. All right, you're going to see what happened. So you would have said 5x into 15x squared. So this is going to be 3x, not 3. That's the difference. So this becomes 3x here.
Yes, sir.
And then when you say 3x into 15x, it's not 5. It's going to be 5 with an x because this is x squared and an x. So,
Yes, sir.
all right, 10x. Look now, watch this now. Watch this. You're seeing 13x over 15x squared. And I'm telling you, they don't have that answer. People just overlook it. Look good. You don't see this there
Yes,
because
no, sir.
there's no x here and people
Yes, sir.
overlook it. But why? Look at this now. X here could cancel this because there's no
Okay.
so there's no
Yes, sir.
plus or minus, so you still should have gotten the same answer.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Work your algebra properly. The reason
Yes, sir.
why I just did it the right way is like when I do it the right way, I don't have to break down things. It's like it's like having a math like this. You have this and you're adding this. The LCM is 4, but somebody that use 8 still going to get it. But they'll have bigger numbers that they can break it down to get the regular thing that somebody who use 4
Okay.
would have. So it's the same context.
Yes,
right?
sir. Thanks.
Very good. Very good. But what I want you to do, man, because you were right on point and you overlooked the fact that there was no X right here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know. So I'm saying you have to be on the lookout. And the
Yes,
multiple choice, don't listen to people. Like every year when I do the multiple choice online, a lot of people cuss to them, get, oh, sir, your wrong answers. It's because they were tricked. You understand what I mean? So you have to take your time and look. If not, you're going to end up with 30 out of the 60 easily.
Yes, yes, sir.
It's, to me, it's a harder paper to deal with because of the errors that you're going to make.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. It says using the distributive law, right? We have PQ minus this, that, right? Is simplified as what? All right. So what is this simplified as right about now? Anybody? What is this simplified as? All right. So take a look at what you got right here. Take a look at what you got right here. Would you agree? Take a look at what you got. Would you agree if you distribute this? This will give you a PQ. And then this will be minus PR. This one right here. So look, this is PQ. They just that they didn't put it together, and this is PR. So it's D. Simple. All right. So don't overshoot it. Don't overshoot it. So you could see that D is the answer right about there. PQ minus PR.
Because
are we good?
The PQ in the P and the Q and the P and the R is in the bracket, you'll just take out the P, put it on the outside.
You can do that too.
In the bracket.
So you can factorize out you want to factor out the P, so you're left with
yeah.
Q.
Q.
And you factorize
minus
out this, you have the minus r.
R, yeah.
You could see that there, as well as you can look at your responses and pick. You can do so many, but they actually told us that, hey, this is the factorizing. You remember the distributive law and the factorization work like they're opposite to each other. To factorize, you pull out, to distribute, you throw them across and stuff like that. So yeah, man. So whichever way you want to go at it, you can get the answer out easily. All right. So look again, guys, when you get these simple things, you could see they'll have that common thing in there for you to pull out and think. As well as you could search, you could look at your responses. All right. I think this is a T up here. So I'm gonna write, I think that's a T. All right, I think this is X over Y raised to the T. All right, it kind of look weird. All right, so here it is that all you're gonna do is to substitute, right? So X over Y, which is X is -2. So this is -2 over Y, Y is 3. We are substituting here. We substitute these. You're raising it to T right here. What does this mean? In many ways, when you square something, you multiply it by itself, don't you? Right? So -2 times -2 is +4. 3 times 3 is 9. So we're looking for 4 over 9. Okay, so you have to be careful. There's another question like this where they have a negative power and you have to flip the answer upside down.
That me don't get it wrong.
Yeah, but me I tell you no, it's not this question. You realize it's not this question.
I know, because on the first test I got it right. So when I was looking over, I wonder if this will flip or it will stay, and then
Not
me
the
go
same
flip
question.
it.
Not the same question. The thing is, as I said to you, they are doing it. They know that we are teaching you, so they know that, okay, let's tweak the question. So when the question is tweaked, because people think they need time, you have time for multiple choice, but people think they're going to run out of time. So they just look and run, look and run, look and run. Don't do that, please. Go through slowly, relax. Even if it seems as if you saw the question before, I am telling you, a lot of them will be tweaked. So we're looking out for CXC, all right? All right, let's go
Sir,
through.
one question. Or you
Go
know
ahead, I'm
when
listening
to
to you.
flip it. Or you know when to flip it.
Let me do a flip one for you. Now, let me do a flip for you. Let us say you're doing an idea where you have -2 over 3, and you're raising this to the -2. This is different. -2 means inverse. Remember, the negative power means inverse. Inverse is to flip. Makes sense? This is a flip. So this really means 3 over -2 with a positive power now. Are we there?
Yeah, so that's when it should be flipped, when it have the -2 with the bracket there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Any negative power is a flip. I'm just telling you from now, a negative power is a flip. Even if you have 5 raised to the -1, it's not 5. It's actually 1 over 5. 5 raised to the -1 is 1 over 5. It's a flip. Like 5 is 5 over 1, but because it's a negative power, it turned upside down. That's what the negative do. So even with these, because it's a negative, it's going to flip and become positive after that, okay? It's going to flip and becomes positive after that. So we have to look out. Let me see if I could give you another idea. All right, for example, what if we see 5 to the -2, right? You might be thinking there's nothing to flip, but you know that there is something to flip. This is really, I'm just going to show you what this is. Because it's a negative power, it's 1 over the thing. That's what the negative power really means, 1 over. But 1 over anything means you flip the thing. You just don't realize that you flip it. So that's 1 over 25. In the end, you'll get 1 over 25. So this is a flip. 1 over 25. Because naturally, if you had this, it would have been 25. But to the negative power, it's going to be a flip. 25 over 1 becomes 1 over 25. You see the point I'm making? It's a flip, okay? So you will see it a lot of times. Look out for it, right? So there is a question that they have that they're going to trick you with, and they caught you. Yeah. Look out. So don't swat the thing. Just work math. Look at this now. We're substituting still. The 2 is like P, and the 3 is like your Q, right? P with your Q. So basically, it's going to be 2 times P, but it's going to be 2. There's a plus here, and you're plusing that last one, which is 3. So 4 plus 3, this is a 7. And there it is. Are we there? Are we okay with that, everybody? All right. Not bad. Not bad. We're still on algebra. Let's everybody, what you got for number 28, people? Let me just ask these people in this room here. What is 28? Come on, people. What is 28?
Sure, I would say 4.
Huh? All right. Yeah. So what we're going to do is regular distribution. So we're going to distribute 5 times 2x. Let me not write that. Let's put this. 5 times 2x will give you 10x. 5 times negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 1, that's negative 5. And this is equal to 35. Regular math. Get that on the other side. 10x is equal to 40. And you could see you divide both sides by 10. I'm actually writing the answer 4. And look out, it's not negative
Sure,
4.
you can get trick with the 3 also if you don't know how to do it.
Well, if you don't know how to do anything, you're going to get tricked all the way, right?
Sir, because some persons would take off the 5
Yes.
and then it would be 30, and you said the 10 into the 30 go how much times you would put the 3.
Well, if they do it right, you know, if they do it right, because to take off the 5 is to divide. You get 7, or you get the same answer. But it depends on how you're working. You know, as long as you're thinking, you're good. So if you have a good algebra base, you're going to knock it. All right, number 29. What is the value of x squared plus 3x over xy? We're substituting. X is 4. So what is the value of 4 squared plus 3 times y? So this is 3 times 2. 3 times y. Y is 2, right? All over xy. 4 times 2. Let's put this down. 16. 16 plus 6 over 8. 16 plus 6, 22. 22 over 8. How many times can 8 goes into 22? 2 times. That's 8 to 16, right? And remainder what? 6 over 8. We're not seeing that, but you could break down your 6 over 8. 2 into this 3, 2 into this 4. So we're looking for 2 3/4. Is it there? Yes. So you take it and you go. So you're just working until you see your answer showing up. A lot of times it's not going to show up immediately, but you work it down as you go. Regular substitution. And you see how it goes from there. That's number 29. The answer is D. Let's go with number 30. A lot of times people misinterpret this, misrepresent it. So let us see what's going on. All right, very good. Empire, very good. All right, let's go. Let's see what you have for number 30.
A.
All right, let's see. It says when 6 is added to a number, they call the number x. So 6 is added to x, right? And the sum, which is this sum, is divided by 3. The result is 4. You're looking for that, and definitely is the answer. Not a big deal. We just have to make sure that you're not making any error, right? So that is number 30 right there. A. Very good. Let's see what we have for 31. When 5 is added to a certain number, and so this, watch this now. When 5 is added to a certain number, all right, and the result is multiplied by 3, and the result, so 5 is added to a certain number, and the result, so the result of that, in other words, then the sum. So you put that in a parenthesis, in a bracket. The result is multiplied by 3. The final answer is 27. Everybody good with that? Now they're asking for the original number. So 5 plus the original number times 3 give 27. Divide by 3. It could go backwards, right? So 5 plus some number equal 9. Well, x is 4, right? You could say 5 plus 4 equals 9. So you could try it now. You could say 5 plus 4, 9. 9 times 3, 27. Makes sense. So the answer is 4 for real. Are we there?
sir.
All right, all right. All right, just make sure that everybody good. Just trying to make sure here. All right, we have 3,800 millimeter, and it's expressed in meters. You know that it takes us 1,000 of this one to give 1. So 1,000 millimeter will give 1 meter, right? So you got to divide. You're going to have to divide this by 1,000 because you want to go 2 meters, right? 1, 2, 3. You skip 3 places to the left, 3.8. The answer is B. So this one is quite simple, straight up easy for number 32 right there. Good going, everybody. All right. All right, let's go for the next one now, right? Number 33, take a look at it. 33, what you say for the answer? Come on. What you say for the answer? Ready? All right, so for 33, it says the circle shown in the diagram, not drawn to scale, has the center at O, the area of the circle, so they want to know the area. All right, so if they're telling us that O is the center, they're telling us that 6 is the diameter. If 6 is the diameter, if I take the 6 and divide it by 2, I'm going to get 3, which is my radius. So my radius is actually 3. Now, because my radius is 3, I could work out the area. The area of a circle is pi r squared. Pi is in the answer, so no big deal. Pi times 3 squared. Pi, so this is actually 9 pi. It's very simple. 9 pi right here, regular. So the idea is you got the diameter. They're not going to tell you because they gave you the center of the circle, so this has to be the diameter. And then from there, you go to radius. Radius is in the formula, and you take it. So 9 pi as we go. Empire. Yeah, man. Well done. All right, let's take a look at this. There are, we have 10,800 seconds. We want to express this in hours. Can anybody just work that out quickly for me, quickly as I go? We're at number 34. Let's go. Come on, people. We're at number 34. What do we got there? What we got? All right. Now let's go. What you got? What you got?
3.
Sounds good. Remember now, as it relates to hours, we have seconds, but we want to divide this, right? But guess what? What you're saying here, you want to express this in hours. Remember, it takes 60 seconds to make a minute, and it takes 60 minutes to make an hour. So when you multiply this, you're going to get 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. So this is 1 hour. So you're going to take your 10,800 and divide it by that to see how many hours you could get. 3,600 seconds is 1 hour. You could see these are gone. You could see this goes into this 3 times, right? So definitely 3. Remember again, 60 minutes make an hour, 60 seconds make a minute. So when you move from seconds to hour, it's 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. All right, so we're rolling, we're still going. Let's keep it pushing. Let's keep pushing. So we say the volume, right, in cm cube of the cube of a cube of edge 3. Remember what a cube looks like? Something like this. Let me see if I could draw these that we always draw back in the days. Yeah, this is 3, this is 3, this is 3. 3 times 3 times 3. And that's our volume, right? 27 it is. So there it is, right? Be careful, the 35 is 27. Don't pick 9, as people may think, okay? All right, let's go with 36. 36 says, the figure above, not drawn to scale, show a sector of a circle with O. The length of the arc. So they're saying now that the length of the arc from P to Q is 8. So this distance here is given as 8 centimeters. But this is linking to 60, right? What is the length of the circumference? In other words, if I could find out how many 60 I could get out of 360, every time I get that, I'm reproducing 8. Every time I do it, I'm reproducing 8 every time. So all I have to do is to say, okay, how many 60s can I get out of 360? So if I take 360, which is a full circle, and divide it by the central angle here, it's going to happen 6 times. But for every time I get a 60 degrees, I'm getting 8. So I'm going to have to say 6 times 8 would be 48 centimeters, would have been the circumference of that full circle, 6, 8, 48. So our answer right there is 36. It is C, right? So again, let's take a look at this question. Let me just make sure that we got it. Again, read the question, see what they're giving. They're giving us this, all right? So you take a look at the angle. You want to know how many times can you get this 60, because you are trying to go all the way around. And you could see there is consistency. For every 60 degrees is going to give you 8 centimeters on the circumference. So if I know how many 60 degrees I could get, then it's going to tell me what number do I multiply by 8. All right? And there it is. All right, let's take a look at number 36. For 36, it says the figure above, not drawn to scale, shows a sector. Oh, I picked 36 already. 37 is where we're at, my bad. A man starts a journey at 9:30, all right, and arrived at his destination in the same time zone at 1. So this is like 9 in the morning, and then it's 1 in the day, right? So 9:30 to 1:30, same day. If his average speed, so he's going at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour, right? So the question is then the distance for the journey would be what? What we need to do then is to find out how many hours did this man travel. So if you're traveling from 9:30, by the time you reach 10:30, that's 1 hour, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. So 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, that's 4 hour pass, okay? So we're saying then for every hour you're doing 30. So 4 hours times 30. This is just ordinarily maxing out your way. And you're like, okay, there it is. So we are able to just easily just ease our way without even doing any sort of speed or so on. We're just looking at idea, ratio, 30 kilometer for every hour. So you did 4 hours. So on average, you would have covered 120. All right. It says the area of this trapezium PQRS would be what? Remember that the area of any trapezium would be half the sum of the parallel sides times the height. The parallel sides are 18 and 8. So basically, we're talking about 8 plus 18, and then you divide that by 2, and you want to times it by the height, which is 5. So 8 plus 18 is 26. So basically 26 divided by 2 times 5. 13 times 5 looks like 65. And so the answer is B, as you could see. So for 38, the answer is B. Well done, well done, well done, well done. We're pushing. Well done. Keep rolling. Keep it going, everybody. Come on, if you're on the live and you haven't subscribed or like the video, go ahead and like it, everybody. Let's move on to question 39. This question, I think this question is tired of being here. I've been seeing this since I was doing math, and that's like donkey years ago. It says here, the diagram above, not drawn to scale, consists of, we have a triangle resting on a square. And this is important. It's a square. So the moment I learn it's a square, you could go ahead and just put these out. They're not going to tell you. You have to furnish the diagram. All right. Then it says the height of the triangle is there. The question is the total area. So we can easily find the total here because for the square, it's going to be 5 times 5 for that part. So this is 25. For the triangle, it's going to be half base times height. And it's going to be a half times 5 times 4. That's 20 divided by 2 is going to give me 10. So the total is to add my 10 plus my 25, and it's going to give us 35. And we're looking for our 35 there. So 39 is actually A. And I could see unknown is blazing right there. Emperor blazing as well. Yeah. All right. Number 40, everybody, we're coming down. 40, everybody, let's take a look at that and then send in your answer. Let us see what you got there, what it is you got there for your 40. The score of which occurs most frequently in a distribution. What do we call that? I think somebody just sent an answer here. They said D. All right, this is mode right here. Very good. So that one, number 40, is your mode. It occurs the most. All right. Let us see now. So you could see now we're in statistics. We just did measurement and they jump into statistics. Everybody, what's the pattern? It's going to happen like this, right? Now, let's keep it going. It says here, the bar chart shows the ages of children who took part in a survey. How many children took part in the survey? You got to look at your axis. Don't just guess. This says the number of children. So we want to know these are the ages, right? So 3 kids are 4 years old. That's 3 kids, that's 4. And then we have 4 kids are 5. Oh, that means all I have to do is to add up these height. So this height here is 1. So it's 1 plus this height here. So 1, let's do them in order. So we have 1 plus 5 coming down, and then plus 2 plus 4 plus 3. Add up these numbers. 6, 8, 8 and 7, 15. Keep adding. Your answer is B. All you have to do is to look at what the axis is being labeled. So you read this and you read this to have, so you could get the context of what you're doing, so you could know what number you're working with. You don't want to add up the wrong numbers, all right? All right, let's take a look at number 42. So I'm going to leave 42 for you to work it out. 42 refers to the 8 scores, as you could see. The median of the scores represented above is what? What's the median, everybody? So I'm going to type now number 42. Number 42 is what? All right, number 42 is what? Ready? All right. All right, let's take a look at number 42. In order to do median, you can't just pick. You got to line them up first. You got to go descending or ascending order. Any one of them work. So if I'm going ascending order, I'm going to write 1 first, then I have 4. So I have 2 4s. And then after that, there's a 7. Then I have 2 8s. And then I have 10 and then 15. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you line up this and then a recount 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you could see that these is good. These 2 numbers are in the center. But remember now, if 2 numbers are in the center, you got to find the mean. You add them, divide by 2, you'll get a 7.5 for this. Right? 15 divided by 2, that's 7.5. And it is right here. All right. 43, let's see what's going on for 43. It says in a class of 20 students, 12 of them are girls. What is the probability that a student chosen at random is a boy? You see, is a boy. How many of them are boys? Well, 20 students, 8 girls. You take your 20, pull out the 8, pull out the the 12, you're left with 8. We have 8 boys. The question is probability for boys. So it's going to be 8 over the total, 8 over the 20, right? Now, if you don't see that, you pick, well, it is already there. They could break it down using 4. You could have seen 2/5. But they have 8 over 20. You pick it and you go straight up. Remember again, read. Read. They gave the girls, they gave the total, but the question is about boys. A lot of people put 12 over 20 and get it wrong. So you have to be careful, right? Let's go to question 43, 44, I should say. Question 44. Question 44 says here that we have the pie chart above shows the preference in terms of drink of a group of students. Each student may select only one drink. So it says if 12 students prefer chocolate, then the total number of students is what? So the key would have been the if. That's the anchor. 12 students prefer chocolate. So wherever chocolate is, this is 12 students. So we're going to utilize this to ride through. Now, what we want to do, though, is to relate this idea. Don't overkill yourself. They put an angle here for a reason. This is a straight line, which means that this angle here is 60, right? Because remember, a straight angle is 180. So if part of that, if this part is 120, that means over here is 60. Now you could do this so many ways now, because you could see if 12 occupies 60, you could multiply this by 6, because you could find out how many 6 or how many 60 in 320, in 360, should say. You could find out that how many 60 in your 360. Or you could look at it like this. If 12 is 460, right? That means 24 would be for what? For 120. You could see that. You double the angle, you double the people. But then again, this is half of the thing. So 36 is half. That means over here is another 36 altogether. Together, that's 72. So without doing any working too tough, you have the answer already. So that's one approach where you could look at the angle, but you have to make this click. This clicking with the 60 here, that's the working out. And from that, then you could just spread your wings and fly. Another thing you could have done, you could say, okay, let us see how many times 60 could go into 360. It's going to go into it 6 times. Because, and then you could say, but well, every 12 times 6, because every 60 degrees is a 12. I get 60 degrees 6 times. 12 times 6, 72. Another way you could work it out. We're going though. There are multiple ways to get there though. Get there if you can. All right. So we're looking at the next question, 45. Anybody has 45, you could drop your answer. If the mean, watch this question now. Let me see who gets this. If the mean of the numbers 2x, 4x, 3x, and 3x is 12, the sum of the numbers is what? Let me see. I'm waiting to see what people are going to put for 45. What is the answer for question 45? There you go. What's the answer for question 45? Waiting to see if anybody sent out the answer first. All right, let's go get it. Let's go get it. Let's go get it. I haven't seen anybody respond yet anywhere. Let me look one more time. All right. Now think about it. This question is kind of simpler than you're thinking. They're asking for the sum
Sir,
of the
I
numbers.
put A, I don't know.
All right, the sum of the numbers. No, it can't be A. It has to be bigger than 12. So this is like the answer that you show it's not. It has to be bigger than 12. Let's work it out. We're saying that if you add up 4 numbers, right? Think about it, whatever those numbers are that you add up, you divide them by 4, it is 12. Think about how you do average. Don't you see the answer? Look, you would have said 2x plus 3x plus 3x plus 4x divided by 4 give 12. This is the sum of what they're talking. So you would have multiplied the 12 by 4. That's how you would have seen the sum to be by itself. It's 48. The numbers had to give 48. So it's not as big as you think. The numbers had to give 48. And definitely we could work out what is x, but they didn't ask about that. They are saying that when you add up the numbers, what number you get? It's just going to be 12 times 4. Think about it. Your average times 4 takes you back to the sum because you normally would have divided to get that average. So you could just multiply and you're gone. 4 times 12 is the answer. No big deal. You don't have to set up anything. All right, let's go for 46. 46 says the equation of the line which passes through 0, 5, and the gradient is 4. Can anybody tell me what this is? So we have a point. Somebody says C. I like C because we're talking about y is equal to mx plus a c. And when your x coordinate is 0, that means you have the y-intercept already right there, and the gradient is 4. So you could see that it's not a big deal. And somebody said the answer is 4x plus 5. Definitely, I agree. All right. Now, so you could see now we're on some coordinate geometry. Yeah, on some coordinate geometry now. All right. So question 47, what you say the answer is, everybody? 47, what you say it is. Let's see what you got. 47.
Lisa.
All right. All right. 47 says the straight line AB cuts the y-axis at here. And what is the coordinate? Every y-axis has a 0 first, and then, so the y-intercept is always a 0 first, and then that number. So the answer there is a D for dog. All right. D. 47, somebody said C. Be careful, Empire. Be careful, Empire. 47, take a look. It is definitely D, right? Oh, I think you're answering 46, maybe. I think so. All right. 48 now. Let's look again. What is the gradient? What is the gradient of AB? Come on, people. I'm waiting on you. 48. What is 48, people? All right. It's like some people sending answer in the chat. Maybe, I'm not sure. All right. Let us check it out. AB. There are multiple ways you could do this. You could do this a long way to work out your thing, or you could look at rise over run. All right. So from A to B, we already see the line. It's positive. Whenever your line set like that, it's positive. This is out. This is out. All negative gradient come like this. All right. So we know it's not a negative gradient. You could rise. You rise 2 and you run. Right. You rise 2 and you run 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're looking at the units too. Single. So it's 2, 4. Rise over run. Right. So 2 over 4 can be broken down to 1 over 2. So your answer is D for dog, right? So 48 is rise over run. Rise over run, unknown. Come on, not run over rise. Rise over run, remember. All right? Be careful. Gotta put the Y first. Rise over run, you rise over your run. And that's it. So we rise 2 and we run 4. 2 over 4, 1/2. Okay. Somebody was suggesting -2. No. Remember that all positive gradients set like this. All positive gradient set like this. And all negative gradient will set like this. All negative gradients set like this. So from left to right is like you're going down the hill. All right, left to right, you're going down the hill like that. And when you, this is for negative gradient, and when you're positive, you're going up the hill, right? You're going up the hill when it's positive from left to right, all right? So you have to keep that in mind so you're on top of things. We don't want to get these wrong in the exam. All right, remember now we're at 49. We're looking at functions now. F of x is equal to x squared. So f of x is equal to, let me draw this across, x squared minus x minus 1. You're finding f of -5. right? F of -5. Everybody work out that and drop it in, please. 49. Let me see what you have for your 49 people. 49, what we got? What we got for 49? Let's go. 49. Let's see what you have. Let me check the chat to see if anybody's sending anything. Basically, you're finding f of -5, which means -5 will take the place of x. That's all. So there's going to be a -5 here. There's going to be a -5 here. Despite the negatives that you're seeing, -5 goes where x is. But when you square something here at the front, it's positive, right? Then you could see when these unlock, it's positive again. And then you're taking out 1. So that's 30 minus 1, 29. And then the answer is right there in front of you. So the answer is actually C, 25 plus. All right. So you see people picking, you have to be careful. All right. You have to be careful because people picking 20, people picking 19. All right. People subtracting 5, because remember now the two negatives here would clash. You have to look out for that. There's a -5, and there was a negative in the math. This becomes positive, right? So be careful with that. It was there to trick people, and a lot of people really pick 19. The answer is 29. So be careful there as you go through. We're here to make sure that we get 60. If you want to get that grade 1, we're going for 60 out of 60. Definitely you can. All right. It says here, what is the gradient of a straight line? Right. So we're looking at 2y. All right. So if you have this, remember the context to a question like this. You can't pick the gradient. A lot of people think the gradient is A. A is wrong, right? Because you cannot pick the gradient until the y is isolated. Remember the format says y is equal to mx plus c. The only time you could pick m is when y is alone. Y is not alone here, and that's the issue. A lot of people run onto this. So you got to say, okay, for 50, you divide everything by 2 first. When you divide everything by 2, the gradient becomes -2/3, -3 over 2. And you're looking for that number 50. It is a B. So you have to be careful. Remember, you can only pick your y-intercept and the y-intercept as well as your gradient when the y is alone, right? So you do the regular math right there. Let's go to 51. 51 says that we have a function here, like we have f of x is equal to, that's what this is saying. It's equal to x raised to the 5th power. And you're going to be trying numbers from -2 all the way to 2. It's not a big deal. So what are you doing? You're saying -2 raised to the 5th power. What is that? So that's -2 times -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. So that's going to give us -32. The thing is, whenever you have a negative number multiplying by itself like an odd number of times, it's always going to be negative, okay? And we're talking about -1 raised to the 5th is going to give you a -1. So already my answer is D, because I'm looking for a -32 first, and I didn't see that. So this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. So I could stop. The moment I did the first one here, I know that this is the answer. I don't have to prove the others, okay? So you have to be careful and look out there. So the moment you do your first thing, look to see what's going on, because it's going to help you to decide. So number 51, the answer is D. The moment you do it and you're not seeing it anywhere else, that means you're alone this time. You pick your answer and you don't have to finish it because it is D. Now let's jump on to 52. So 52 is saying, hey, what transformation, right, maps P, Q, R onto P prime, Q prime, R prime? Take a look at it. What's going on here? So you want to run all of those transformations in your brain. Is it a translation? Is it a reflection? Is it an enlargement? Is it a rotation? What is it? What is it? You take a look carefully. And yes, yes, Tanya, as you could see, it is a reflection, and the mirror line is somewhere here. The mirror is somewhere here where the R reflect to there, the P's reflect there, the Q's reflect there. So definitely the answer is D. It is a reflection, right? So we want to make sure that we're knocking those as we go along. All right, we're coming down. Number 53. 53 is a vector question. As you could see, they complete the syllabus with this. Everything is there. It says here, the image of the point P is 1, 2 under the translation P, which is -5, -4. What is the translation vector? So here is the thing. It's like this. Remember that object plus translation gives image, right? That's the idea. O plus T give I. So my object, which would have been 1, 2, this is my point P. This was added to some translation X, Y, and the result was -5, -4, right? Which is my P prime. This is what took place, algebraically speaking, arithmetic wise. So we're suggesting that if you want to find your XY, XY is simply having your -5, -4, and you're going to subtract this matrix. You're going to subtract this. So you're going to subtract it, regular math. I minus O from both sides. Hello, minus O from both sides, all right? So now you would have -5 minus 1, this is -6. -4 minus 2, -6. So my answer is -6, -6. I'm looking for that, and I'm definitely seeing it at A. Let me pause for a moment there to make sure that everybody is good with number 53 being A. Let's see if you're good. Let me know if you're all right. If not, I could re-explain, but definitely let me know what's going on for you right there. We're at 53. 53 is A. Are we good with that?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, go ahead.
why you wouldn't use the sign of the bigger number, like the -5? You know, say -5 from the 1 from the 5.
I'm gonna write it, and then you see what you're doing. So I'm gonna rewrite it for you. Let's write it. So we were saying that XY is equal to, now I'm gonna put them in one bracket. It's gonna be -5 minus then 1. Are you good with that?
Yes, sir. Oh,
Then, so you see you change your mind already?
yes, sir.
All right, good. So what you were asking is when the signs are different.
Yes.
You subtract and keep the sign of the larger, but
Yes.
or of the numeric larger value number there. But this is different. This is just -5 minus 1. That's a -6. -4 minus 2. That's a -6 again. Okay.
Yes, I understand now, sir.
All right. Now let's take a look at number this one. Grab a lot of people too. It says in the diagram, AB and CD are parallel. So we are told that this line is parallel to that line. So I'm just going to indicate on it with my arrow that this line and this line are parallel. Now, which of the following best describe the relation between X and Y? The relation between X and Y. Now, what do we know about parallel lines? And this is called a transversal right now. A transversal is a line that cuts across two lines, two or more lines. And then when they're parallel, then we have special relationships being formed, like we have alternate interior, alternate exterior. We have corresponding angles. You understand, stuff like those co-interior angles and so on. What's going on here? X and Y, they're on two different sides of the transversal, which already is telling you that there are some alternate coming. One is at the top, one is at the bottom. To the top right, bottom left, stuff like that. So it's alternate. But what is the rule that speaks to your alternate, or what we call Z angle? So sometimes we say zangle. You understand? Z angle. It's your alternate angles. Can anybody tell us what about alternate angles? Anybody? What about alternate angles when you have parallel lines? They are equal. And the big word in mathematics, we say congruent as well. They are equal, congruent, same. All right. So equal, I've seen it where people pick the different things here, but you should have picked A, right, in that little test you got. Now we're in trigonometry. We're coming down. And it says in the triangle ABC, not drawn to scale, AB is 17, AC is 15, BC is X, and so on. And they're saying that the angle BCA is 90. So they're telling you what you're looking at. The question is that they're saying, hey, The value of x is what? What is the value of x? What is the value of x? Where are we? The value of x, which is here. Now you could see that you have, all right. So basically, it depends if you know your triples, but all right, let's just work this down. So this is going to be 17. I'm just starting this where this is like A and B and C. So remember now, C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. The Pythagorean theorem, having two sides of the right triangle. So 17 squared is equal to 15 squared, right, plus x squared. So watch this now. This is how I'm going to do it. Okay, you're not going to have any calculator. You will agree that you will have 17 squared. The 15 squared here needs to go on the other side. So it's minus 15 squared. And this is equal to x. See the answer? The answer looks like 8. Now, let's take a look at this. So right now, you could do it the long way. I'm going to do the difference of 2 squared because this is the difference of 2 squared. So I'm going to factorize. I'm just showing you something. Take a look at this. Anybody remember doing this? I'm using it right now. Yeah. 17 plus 15, 17 minus 15. This is 32 times 2. See that? That is 64. So I'm having 64 equal to x squared. So if I take the square root, the answer is 8. Boom. Now you don't have to do it that way. You could do it the regular way now. The regular way is to say 17 times 17. If you don't know it, you're going to have to take your time and you do your long thing. 7 7 is 49. 7 1 7 and 4. So 7 7 1 7 and 4 11. Put a 0. And you keep going. 7 1 7. And you do your thing and you go back. You do your thing. You start. Boom. So it's a 17 times 7 2 89. That's what I'm talking about. So you do that. You can do that. And then 15 times 15. If you don't know that it is 225, you're on your own. You're going to have to work it out. 5 5 25, 5 1 5, and 2 7 0 5 1. And you're like, okay. You say 5 2 2. All right, good. And then you go again. You see how much work you're right? 2. You're subtracting them, because remember, you're subtracting them. And you see a 4. You see a 6. And you're right. You still get the same 64. And then you say the square root of 64. I'm just saying you're on your own with how you navigate. But like when I see stuff like this, I like it because I'm seeing the difference of 2 squares. And I'm like, oh, I could factorize this. Put a plus, put a minus between them. Boom, and I'm gone. But it's up to you to navigate. All right? We got the same answer though. So our answer there was 8. Let's go to the next question, right? So for the next question, we are saying parallel lines. See, parallelism was being displayed right there. So you're seeing that. So they are parallel. So the question says in the diagram, AB is parallel to EC, right? So the question is, the measure of the angle BDE. Mark the angle BDE. Then mark this angle right here, BDE. Be advised that whenever you have 2 parallel lines cut by a transversal, 2 angles on the same side inside, they're always supplementary. They add to give 180. It's called co-interior angles. They're on the same side of the transversal. The lines are parallel and they're between the parallel lines. So if you take 180 and you pull out the 40, it's going to tell you that this angle here is 140, right? Because they add to give 180. So that angle BDE is 140 degrees. Co-interior angles would have helped you out there to push that through. It's add to gives 180 degrees. You have to look out for stuff like that as you go through, right? All right, not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. All right, let's see what's going on. Let me see what some people are saying. Some people 40, 56 is A. Be careful, it's not A. Look at the angle that they asked about. So if they had asked about BDC, this is 40, but that's not what they asked. They asked for the angle on the other side. So you have to be careful, right? Careful. As I said to you, a lot of people think the multiple choice is the easiest. I think it is the hardest one because looking at the responses every time you realize that people think they have it, you don't have it. All right, you keep making a lot of mistakes as you go. Be careful. Let's go again. We're now in trigonometry still. It says, in the right angle triangle above, which trigonometric ratio is equal to 4/8? Now, 4/8 could be many things, but context for your question, right? You got to look. Now, if you're standing at y, you could say the cos of the angle at y. I'm just saying if you're at y, the cos of the angle at y is adjacent, because this would have been the adjacent at y. This would have been the hypotenuse at y if I'm looking at y. So the cos would be 4/8. But that's not here. So you're going to realize that, well, this is not there. So I'm going to have to view this from the other angle. So now we're going to view it from where x is, because I'm not seeing cos y there. So if I go x and I go here, this is now opposite to x. So this 4 is opposite to x. The hypotenuse remain. But if I'm looking at the opposite, remember, so ka tower. So the opposite, so that means the sine of x also can give 4/8. Sine of x does that as well. So we're seeing the sine of x at a, so you pick a. So what I'm suggesting is there are a lot of times is what they have available. Sometimes it's more than one answer, but you're looking for the one that they are putting there for you to pick from. All right, so you would have gotten that. 58. All right, 58 says the isosceles triangle shown. So even if they never said isosceles, you could see the markings. These symbols mean that these sides are the same. All right. And since they met at x, x is different, meaning the angles across, the angles opposite to the sides that are the same will be the same, right? So you could see 30 will be here. Again, let me say this. The angles opposite to the congruent sides are equal as well. So that's that. So x is to take 180, and you're going to pull out the sum of these two angles, which so happen to be 60. So the answer is 120. So you're seeing where this is 120 right there. That's 120 right there. Right, we're going to keep going. We're almost at the end. We're pushing. You do realize that it takes us at the same time to talk about it, which means that it is easier for you. You're not going to be talking and stopping and doing stuff, right? It says here, it says OAA prime, OBB prime, and OCC prime are straight lines. They're referring to these lines there. They're just giving you a notes on it. It says the triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. No, the triangle ABC is mapped onto A prime, B prime, C prime by an enlargement with center O. All right, what is the scale factor? Well, you could look, you could do so many things. You could just pick on these two corresponding sides here. We could pick on the CB and the C prime, B prime. Remember now the prime goes on top. So if I take C prime, B prime, and I put it over CB, if I put the length over the length, it's going to tell me what happened. This is 2 units, this is 1. You have to put the image on top. So it's 2/1. The scale factor is 2. So this is it. Remember though, I'm only saying 2, positive 2, because the image and the object are on the same side of the center, right? They're on the same side, so it's positive. Because if it were that one of them was on the left and one on the right, it would have been a negative scale factor. You have to think, right? So right now it is positive because the image and the object are on the same side. Sometimes they're to the left, sometimes they're to the right. This case, they're both to the right. So it's a positive scale factor, positive 2, right there. Let's go for the last question. The last question says the diagram above, not drawn to scale, shows the angle of depression of a point x from z, which is 30. You're seeing that. Now, if x is 10 meters from y, what is the height of z, yz? So they're asking for this, right? Now, remember though, because horizontal lines are parallel, the ground is parallel to that imaginary line up there horizontally, then this is 30 as well using your Z angles. So you could work your math from here. You want to find the opposite side and you have the adjacent. So it's going to be tangent power. So you're thinking that, hey, tangent of that 30 degrees is equal to the opposite side. I'm going to put what they gave us, YZ over 10. So if you multiply, yeah, both sides by 10, you're going to get this 10 tan 30. The answer is A. So number 60 is A. All right, and that's going to be our session for today. So this is a reminder again, tomorrow, guys, you're tested. So you're tested tomorrow at 6. Look out, and I'm looking for better grades because now you're doing more paper. All right, and you might be tested again on Wednesday. I might do a live Tuesday just to, because I want you to be doing the test alone, and then I probably clarify. So whatever we do tomorrow, I might clarify for you on Tuesday, and then you do another test on Wednesday. So this is the format that I'm actually taking. All right, guys, this is the end of this live. If there are any questions that you want to ask, you could do so as soon as I'm done with this live right about now.